We also have Super Thanks as a feature now on YouTube. Unlike a straight-up Super Chat, which can only happen on live, Super Thanks you can do on any video. Click that little thanks icon, the heart with the $sign in the middle of it. Edit your message, send it in. Whatever your message is, we will give you a shout-out because we appreciate your support here on the Cowboys Report. $5 Super Chat from Will Marshall. Thank you, Will. If it costs pushing the team into future cap hell, but you knew cashing in on DeAndre Hopkins, not putting a sign in, by the way, would guarantee a ring, would you do it? Hell yeah, I would. That is a no-brainer. I don't think it actually would. I think you would agree there. But yeah, I mean, whatever I have to do financially to guarantee me a ring this year, let's do it. Don't care. I will take that championship in a heartbeat. So it's a good question, Will. I will make note in terms of like the future cap hell. Even if you go all in, it takes like an extra year to reset and rebuild and tank, which maybe isn't even a bad thing in the end. Gangsta Big Chungus. If Dak is bad this year, what does Jerry Jones do? Define bad. Are we getting like the full like first half of that 2017 or 2018, whatever year campaign it was, when there was the crop of receivers that Cole Beasley doubled from the slot and the rotting corpse of Terrence Williams and nobody good out there? If it's like bottom 10 quarterback bad, which he hasn't been, then oh boy, you're in trouble. That maybe you try to rebuild. I don't know if Jerry would do that, but if you haven't paid him yet, you're probably not going to pay him that time, which would put you in a dangerous spot next offseason. A $5 Super Chat from Jeremy Chuggs' burner account. Cowboys, or #Cowboys, what quarterbacks are you taking over Dak for 2023 only? Okay, so the obvious names, right, are your Joe Burrows, your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen's. Look, I'm missing some more names here. I think I would take Justin Herbert over Dak. I think, especially long term, but at least for now. I'm not taking Tua. I'm not taking Jones. I would consider Aaron Rodgers, but he also wasn't that good last year, which raises some concerns. I would take Lamar Jackson over him. You could talk me into Trevor Lawrence, but I think that's probably an answer next year, is that I would take Trevor Lawrence over him. I think right now I would take Hurts over Dak, despite the great supporting cast, and that's probably where I'd stop that list, so somewhere in that top 10 spot. From Bradford Rowe, why not bring back Jaylon Smith? It is okay. He's really not that good. The tackle numbers have always been nice, but he gets out of position a lot and bites on play fakes and isn't very good in coverage. Frankly, overall, that race has been run. Decision has been made. I don't know if Dan Quinn liked Jaylon Smith that much. There were some locker room issues with Jaylon Smith in terms of wanting to work hard enough. But what would you guys do? Would you re-sign Jaylon Smith? This is today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, cool. Take advantage of it. Head down there and vote. Y for yes, N for no. From Turnover Boys by Dak Prescott, then we can get back to some of those older Super Chats here. If Michael Gallup halfway through the season looks bad like last year, should we trade for a receiver before the deadline? I will assume that this also means that Jalen Tolbert and Fehoko, etc., have not stepped up to help replace Gallup. If that is the case, then yes, I would have interest in trading for a new wide receiver, because that means that Gallup has not taken the bounce-back step forward that they really need out of him this upcoming season. From Vince, where do you rank our foundation? Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Smith, Micah Diggs, to build around in the long-time future. I think in general, the long-term should be viewed at maybe 5 years. NFL rosters overhaul 70% every 3 years, but for your core, I think it's a pretty good core. I think it's behind teams who have a younger quarterback who's more physically talented, the Allens, the Herberts, the Lawrences, because those guys in theory will be there for 10 years. Dak's not going to get you 10 more years. He can get you 5 to 7 probably, but I have a tough time seeing Dak at age 40 being the same guy, but there's only a handful of QBs who can even do that from that perspective. So overall, I think you feel pretty good about where you're at right now if you are the Dallas Cowboys. From Bruno, how about paying CeeDee and Diggs? I think that's the bigger priority for Dallas. I think the CeeDee Lamb contract will get done at some point by the middle part of training camp, if not before then. It's not that complicated of a deal to make work. It should be doable from that perspective. So I feel pretty good about the Cowboys' chances on that front. I think they'll be able to have success there. Diggs might be a little bit more complicated, but yeah, I would pay him too. I think he's a really awesome corner, and I tend to value those guys with what Dan Quinn likes too pretty heavily. A $5 super chat from Mr. J. I say give Maher another shot. Who is better than him in free agency or on our roster? Depends on which Brett Maher you're getting. I think this Cowboys coaching staff really lost confidence in Maher in the playoffs, and he also missed the other extra point in the second playoff game and then kind of redeemed himself, but I think the trust had been shattered. I don't think they have any interest, but I would not necessarily be opposed to a one-year deal, no guaranteed money, fight it out for the job in camp, because competition is only a good thing, I believe, for most kickers. Now, if you guys want to be on these Cowboys mailbags in the future, then you have to be subscribed. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Free Cowboys videos every single day when you guys are subscribed. So do not miss out. News, rumors, mailbags like these, little segments, training camp coverage. We got you guys covered. Hit that sub button right now for more free Dallas Cowboys videos. It's youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Brian Gutierrez, this is a great question, by the way. Who do you think will get tagged next year? So I don't think you'll tag Tony Pollard twice. I think once. So next year he's not going to be tagged. Your options then become Terrence Steele. Does he have a new deal? Is he still your starter at right tackle? If he is, then okay, great. Maybe you don't need a new right tackle there. Maybe you just keep him. I think Tyler Biadasz is an obvious candidate right there at center. Depending on what happens with Steele, I think Steele would be above Biadasz. If you don't have his deal done, the most obvious candidate to me is Trevon Diggs, because you don't want him to hit the open market, but you'd probably want to get at least one of Diggs and Steele's contracts done before next offseason, so you have the franchise tag available for somebody. I would not be shocked if Diggs ends up being the answer there. Gary Sanderson, the longer the Cowboys don't pay Dak, does it mean it's a make or break year for him? It's a good question, Gary. Thank you. I think this make or break year is much more on the shoulders of Mike McCarthy, because we've seen this Cowboys offense, even with the inconsistencies, be across the course of a season a damn near 30-point per game offense over the last 3 years with a healthy Dak Prescott and the offensive staff and the players, despite some guys shuffling out. So if the offense gets worse, I think that blame correctly would go towards Mike McCarthy. Now, I think in the issue the Cowboys are going to run into is they can't franchise tag Dak, which means if he gets the open market, I mean, you saw what Kirk Cousins got. Dak's better than Kirk Cousins. All of a sudden, you have to really overpay and really guarantee a bunch of money. So I don't know. I don't think this year is a make or break year for Prescott. If he's not extended this year, then yeah, next year definitely becomes a make or break year. From Dewey Fox, should Israel Mukuamu start? I don't hate this. I don't hate that yet. I like the player a lot. I liked him coming out of South Carolina. The tricky bit is figuring out where he starts, right? DeRon Bland and Stephon Gilmore and Trevon Diggs are probably your corners. Jaron Kearse, Donovan Wilson. I still think Malik Hooker's a little bit better at free safety. Mukuamu, I didn't love him there at South Carolina. Seems to be better on the inside at corner or on the outside. I would like to get him on the field some more. I just don't know how he gets on there with the current construction. Maybe an injury happens, and if that case, knock on wood, then Mukuamu is my first man up. I would love a breakout year for Izzy. Again, it's tricky to figure out how that comes from a roster management playing time perspective. So name a breakout player for the Dallas Cowboys this season. Could be Israel Mukuamu, could be somebody on offense. Lots of different routes you guys can go, but name a breakout player for me in the comment section. Any player, which we've done in the past, by the way, but I want to hear your guys' answers right now. Lance Dunbar's burner account, give us a Cowboys legend who's on the roster right now. So in general, if you're on the roster, you are not eligible to be a Cowboys legend. I think that's cheating and unfair. Lance Dunbar, though, is a great example of a Cowboys legend. A soon-to-be Cowboys legend is probably going to be somebody like, let's pick a good fun name here. Maybe it's someone like a Malik Jefferson, who was also cut for a while, then came back. I don't think he ends up making the 53-man roster when it's all said and done. So I guess I'll go with that one. Tristan Vizcaino does count because he was a Cowboy and then left for a while and then got to come back. So I'll cheat a little bit and mention those two names as hypothetical Cowboys legend candidates, but I don't have any great names from that perspective. From Cameron Clark, is Hunter Lipke going to make this Dallas Cowboys team? That's the UDFA fullback, H-back, running back, hybrid from North Dakota State. Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised. Mike McCarthy historically has liked having a fullback on the roster, and Lipke is one that could fill that role, maybe Princeton Fant as well out of Tennessee. But I would not be surprised if Lipke made the Cowboys this year. Who is your favorite current Cowboys UDFA, i.e. rookie player? So you can't be putting like, oh, Roma was a UDFA or Terrence Steele was a UDFA. Got to be guys that are rookies right now. Who is your favorite Cowboys UDFA on the roster? Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section with who that favorite UDFA is right now. Gary Sanderson, minus Dan Quinn, who replaces Mike if he's let go? This will be our last question because it's a good one, Gary, and I'm going to rant on it a little bit. If you fire Mike or he retires or whatever, well, maybe retirement's a different name, but if you fire Mike, all I want is a real coaching search. You have not done an actual real coaching search in a very long time. You didn't do it. You did it with Wade Phillips. You gave the job to Jason Garrett. You interviewed 2 people, and you hired Mike McCarthy. So whether it's a Mike Kafka, if Kellen Moore has immense success, I bet it'll be on Jerry's list. Like, do a real search. Don't just interview 3 people or 4 people and give the job to Dan Quinn. Do an actual, real head coaching search.